Hi everyone, so today I'm going to show you how to make paper chain hearts, much like this one here. You can hang them from your window or anywhere else in the house. The top tip with this one is not to make your paper chain too long, so just 4 or 5 hearts will be about right. If you make your chain too long, then your hearts don't tend to keep their shape. So all we need for this craft is some coloured paper. I've got pink and red here, but you can use whatever colours you'd like. Or you can use plain white paper and decorate it before cutting it up. Then you need a stapler as well, a pencil, some scissors and a ruler. So quite a simple craft, this one. First thing we need to do is start by cutting up some strips of paper. So take your piece of paper and you want to use your ruler to measure out strips that are about 2 centimetres wide. So anywhere between 1.5 to 2 centimetres wide. So you can mark them all out all along your paper. And then we're going to be cutting the paper lengthways so that we have nice long strips to work with. So you can cut out as many strips as you like, just depends on how many paper chains you think you're going to create. And then it's simply just cutting along those lines. And repeating that until you have enough strips. So each individual heart requires just 1 strip of paper, so factor that in when you think of how many strips you'll need. The next step is to take your strips of paper and simply fold them in half. Bring one end to the other end, fold them in half so that they are then a nice V shape. And I've got some earlier here that I've already cut out from red paper. So next thing to do is take one of your folded strips, take a second folded strip and slot one strip inside of the other. So you've then got 4 sections of paper. Then in the section where you have slotted them together in the folded end, just here, it's a case of simply stapling that together. And this will staple your 2 strips of paper together. Then with the folded paper strip that is in the centre, you can leave that one straight, and with the other strips on the outer side, you simply curl them round into a heart shape, as you can see there. So turn it round, the heart shape. So before you staple that bottom, you then want to get your next strip of paper and repeat the process. So the folded strip, you need to pop your pointed end of your previous strip into the centre of the folded strip. Then again you can staple this at the end, and that's your first heart held in place as such. Then again you need to take the 2 ends, bring them down together like that, and repeat with the next strip. Pop in the centre and staple. And again, continue on. So as I said, you can make these probably about anywhere between 4 and 6 hearts long. After that time, the weight of the paper will start to make the heart shape sort of lose their shape, especially when you hold them up like that. But about 4 or 5 is perfect. And because you've got this long section here, that's perfect for hanging that round wherever you want to hang it round, really, door handle or wherever it's going to go. It's a really simple little paper craft that hopefully you can do at home with just a few resources. Hope you enjoy this one, guys. So continuing with the Valentine's Day theme, I thought we'd try making some heart-shaped pom-poms today, but you don't have to make them heart-shaped. I am going to start by showing you how to make just a traditional round pom-pom if that's what you prefer. So here's the heart-shaped one I did earlier. It just requires an extra step at the end, which I will explain, but to make a normal pom-pom, it's really very simple. All you need is two things: some wool, whatever colour you'd like to use, and some scissors. These will need to be fairly sharp scissors, so do be careful with them. So first of all, with the wool, you're going to need quite a lot of wool, so make sure you have a good size ball. And then find your end, and simply you're going to wrap the wool around your hand. The important part with this is not to wrap it around your hand too tightly, because you do want to be able to slide the wool off your hand in the end, and you don't want to hurt your hand in the process. So simply place the wool around your hand and keep wrapping. A good way to make sure you're not wrapping it too tightly is to spread your fingers out a little bit and wrap them sort of round your spread out fingers. That way you're not going to get them stuck, get the wool stuck around your fingers. So it's just a case of keep wrapping until you have plenty on there. Okay, so I've done it a little bit tight there, as you can see, but I can still get it off my fingers. And as you can see, I have got quite a bit of wool there. So now, keeping it in its wrapped shape, in its sort of oblong shape, slide it off your fingers, and again still try and keep it in that shape. So you can see I've still got that hole in the centre there. Keeping it in that shape, then cut the end, place it down carefully, making your hands free to then cut just another little section of wool. And then what you want to do is place your shorter section of wool down flat, lift your bundle of wool very carefully and place it on top in the centre. This will then allow you to tie this smaller piece round the middle nice and tight. We want a nice tight knot, so knot it twice at least till it's holding together nice and firmly. And then you can see that we've got this little shape. Now, because you looped it around your hands, it's kind of like a figure of 8 shape, and you want to try and work your scissors in between the loops so that you can cut this loop into 2 sections. So this takes a little bit of wiggling. You have to sort of wiggle your scissors through so you've got all of the sections of string looped through. Don't worry if you miss a couple, we can get those later, but get as many as you can through the scissors like that, and simply snip away. Again, as you can see, I did miss 1 or 2 there, so we can just cut those. So just have a little move the wool about and see if there are any that are still looped together, and give them a trim if they are. Once you've done the one side, repeat on the other side. Again, wiggle the scissors through the middle, careful of your fingers as you're poking it through, until you've got most of the loops around the scissors like so, and then give it a good snip. And again, just check and see if there's any you've missed. Usually there will be a few, and just snip those as well so that there's no loops left. Once you've got your 2 halves like that, you can then just fluff out your pom-pom. Just fluff it out a bit so that there's not such a divide in the middle. And at this stage you might then catch a few others where you see that you've missed the loops, and you can again come back and just chop those in half. And then the next stage is simply just to trim it. So if you're going for a round shape, then you're just going to keep trimming round until you get a shape you're pleased with. If you're going for a heart shape, then the trick here is to try and get it quite flat to start with. So move the wool around so that you've got sort of a flat shape that you can start with, and you should probably be able to see the small section of wool in the middle there, which is where we tied it together. That's a good place to have it parted, because that will then mean that you've got an equal amount of wool all the way around. So if you're going for the heart shape, then you start with that, and it's simply a case of keep snipping round and making sure you've got your little V for the top bit, like on this one here, and a pointed bottom like on this one here. And it's really just a bit of patience. Keep snipping until you get something that resembles a heart shape. If you're just going for a normal round one, then that's a bit easier. You can just fluff it out, and again just keep trimming. Trim any long bits so that all the bits of wool are roughly the same sort of size, and you can trim them as short as you'd like or keep them quite long. The sort of shorter you go, the more fluffy it's probably going to end up looking, but try not to get too carried away. Just snip slowly, a little bit at a time. You can always take more wool off, but you can't glue it back on, so just go nice and slow, keep trimming, and just be careful of your fingers. And just take a look at it now and again and just see, is that looking neat yet? Is it looking like a round shape yet? Oh, there's quite a long bit there. So it's the really long straggly bits that are going to make it look messy. So just keep going until you've got the perfect shape. This can take quite some time, so you just got to be patient and keep snipping away. Make sure you turn it over occasionally, just so you're looking at it from all different angles, and that will help you see if you've missed any bits. And the more wool you're able to use initially when you wrap it around your hand, the fluffier the pom-pom is going to be. So as much as you can fit around your hand, or as much wool as you have without wrapping it around your hand too tightly. So that's getting there now. It could still do with a few more trims, but I think that's a good place to start. So you'll have a lot of little bits in the way. We'll just clear those. And yeah, keep trimming. And that's it really. It's a really simple pom-pom. You can make these into key rings, or you can attach a longer bit of string to them and hang them up as little decorations, maybe to go with the paper chain hearts we made. Or you can just keep them simple as they are there. So really easy to make. You don't need a fancy pom-pom maker. You can just make it with your hand, some string, and or some wool and some scissors. Hope you enjoyed this one.